and welcome back to Thea J and Jules Revealed. Today our topic is women in the workplace.
Yes.
So we'll be discussing things that we've been through in our working environment, things we find challenging, just different things to do with the workplace. So just to describe my working environment, it's a professional, formal setting, male and females, different ages, a few different races which we'll touch on towards the end of the video or throughout the video. So that's my setting. Do you want to talk about your previous or what your new setting will be like?
I think I would probably talk more about my previous because obviously I've been there a lot longer and I haven't been in my new job's environment properly to know what the environment is like. But I know with my previous job, again, a very professional setting, men and women, not, again, there wasn't a lot of race, but again, we'll touch on that subject. But yeah, it was a very kind of professional environment, but laid back as well. You know, people did do their work, but there was also times where we could joke around, you know, stuff like that. So it was kind of like a everyone was friends kind of environment. So yeah.
So let's go into challenges in the workplace as a woman. I'm going to first touch on something which is a little bit shallowish. Not really shallow, but it's something that I've been through and I'm sure a lot of females have been through. And that is knowing what to wear in the workplace. Sometimes I have worn a dress to work. I always wear dresses, but sometimes I've worn a dress to work. Got to work and thought, damn it, this dress is a little bit too short for the office. It might be that I've bent down and thought, oh gosh, you know. So my little top tip is if you're not too sure about a dress in the morning, bend over in your house and see how it feels.
Completely.
If it feels too short, whip it off, put a new one on and out you go. Yeah. Another tip is that I wear a lot of, as you can see today, I wear a lot of tops and I wear like a little vest top underneath it. I wear that quite often to work. And where I sit, sometimes people will come to my desk and they stand above me, more men than females. And I'm very conscious of the fact that when they're looking down, they can see down my top. So I try to just make sure that my top is up, not showing too much because, you know, you don't want to come across in the wrong way at work. Yeah. You don't want to put people in difficult situations. Yeah. You don't want to be sitting there thinking, oh gosh, I've got to pull my top up and he's talking to you and, you know, you just don't want that.
And you don't want to draw attention to it neither.
Exactly. So just be aware of what you're wearing to work. If you don't feel comfortable in it, take it off, put something else on. Yeah. Another thing is, some people are really, really good at this. They have a change of clothing in their desk drawer or wherever you work. It could be your locker, wherever. Maybe in the car. It could be a change of tights. It can be a change of top. It can be a whole new outfit that you can whip on if you're not feeling comfortable or if you spill something on yourself. So something to think about that you might want to have a spare outfit with you at work.
Definitely. So with my environment, it was very, very different to Thea J's environment. It was laid back, not laid back, but very, very informal. People are dressed casual. You know, some days you have your, you know, if you wanted to wear a nice little dress, you could. Some people came in when it was summer, when the sun was out, people were in summer dresses. So, you know, I did see some boobs out and stuff like that. So that happened, but for me personally, because obviously I'm a bigger lady, I was very conscious of what I wore. So I've got a bigger bust. So like Thea J said, if I was to wear a top, I would always wear a vest top underneath just in case, you know, you don't want to have your bra showing, you don't, you know, want to don't want to draw the wrong attention, I guess.
Exactly.
So I would make sure I double check what I wore. If I wasn't 100% comfortable, then I would always change.
I've had a bit of a wardrobe malfunction myself. I just looked down and it wasn't quite right, but I think I've sorted it now, hopefully.
So yeah, so stuff like that. And, you know, like for example, there was kind of like a rule where you couldn't necessarily, I think there was a new rule in place where you couldn't, like, guys couldn't wear like shorts because obviously it's not the right, and then flip-flops, even though it's summer and it's warm, but, you know, it's just, you know, you get clients coming into the office, you don't want it to look like a place where, you know, anyone could wear anything. And in the same way, if it was a summery dress, you don't want the boobs hanging out, or the belly tops, the stomach flopping out, you know, stuff like that. So be very, very aware of what you're wearing. So I think that was kind of like, that was for me personally. I don't know about everyone else within the office, but I was very aware of what I wore.
Just touching on clothing again, more footwear, is I have seen a lot of females walking to work or getting on the train and so forth in their heels, you don't need to do it. You do not need to walk or get the train or the bus or whatever to work in your heels. I mean, if you want to, that's fine, but your feet are going to be absolutely ruined by the time you get to your older ages. My tip to you is wear your flats to work, wear your trainers to work, and then change into your shoes. I do it there's no way I'll be walking to work or walking to the bus stop and then to the train station in my heels. Wear your flats to the office and change into your heels. And, it's...
I couldn't even think about wearing heels because me, naturally, I walk really fast. And if I see my bus, I'm running for that bus. So it's better off to do it in a pair of flats or a pair of trainers than in some heel and accidentally step into a crack in the pavement and then tripping and causing a whole havoc. You don't want that to happen. But then everyone, each to their own.
Each to their own. But
some people can happily run in heels and, do a sort of Jessica Parker thing in Sex and the City. But,
you don't need to.
Yeah.
People are not going to look at you in a different way. It's like if you have lots of books and folders and stuff, put it in your rucksack. You don't have to have
it in your hand and a bag.
Exactly.
People waddling into the train and then expecting someone to hold the bus for you while you waddle with your stuff.
We are females. We may not be expected to have on our rucksack and our trainers, but it's comfort,
Yeah,
you don't want to get to 50 and 60 and you're complaining of bad back because you was carrying your big folders for the last how many years, or bad ankles because your feet and all sorts of stuff. Just be comfortable when you go to work.
Definitely be comfortable. Comfortability for me is key, number one.
Definitely.
So yeah.
Something about the workplace. It's kind of like a female perspective, but not really. But I would say, grab hold of every opportunity that is given to you. Like, even if you feel that this might not be for me now, but it could be for me in a few years, grab hold of it now because opportunities aren't always going to come around as quick as you want them to.
Definitely.
So this is not really a female thing, it's more general, but I wanted to add that make sure you grab hold of all opportunities because, like I said, they're not always going to come knocking at your door.
Exactly.
And it may be that you think, well, oh no, I've got loads of time, but sometimes you haven't.
And the thing is, you've got to think about that other person who also wants that opportunity. Do you want to see someone else grab the opportunity that you could have potentially had? I think naturally the work environment is a very competitive environment because everybody wants to be where they want to be. So look at it in a sense, if you don't necessarily feel that you are competitive, then again, if you're just kind of just going to the job to maybe earn a bit of money, you don't necessarily want to get anywhere, you're comfortable with where you are, then that's completely fine. But if you feel like you don't necessarily want to be in that position in the long term, consider that, like Thea J said, any opportunity that comes along, grab it with both hands because, again, you don't know when that opportunity is going to come again because, again, the work environment is very, very competitive.
Definitely. Another thing is don't be... how do you explain this? Don't be afraid. Like, if there is an opportunity that comes up and the other person's going for it as a man, that shouldn't make you feel any differently.
Yeah.
You're both human. You've both had the same, not upbringing, but you've both probably had the same education. Might be different subjects, but you've both done the things you need to do to get to where you are at the moment. So don't be afraid. Don't let the fact that this is a man put you off. Go for what you need to go for, and when you get it, amen.
Yeah. Definitely. And I was going to say also, don't be afraid to speak up when it's the right time to speak up.
Yeah.
Like, for example, if you feel like you're in a work meeting and someone has actually said this to me and it makes so much sense, someone is going to hear your voice. If you don't say anything, no one's ever going to hear your voice. So it's always better to speak, even though you might not necessarily think, oh, people might not really get it. Oh, what's this person? Someone might look at you sideways like, what's this person really saying? But I think it's really important if you feel like you have something that you can input into that meeting and you think it is of relevance and it's going to, benefit the company or whatever, speak up and say it because you never know what partner or what manager is hearing what you're saying and thinking, so your J or Jill said that. That
they would say our real names, our full names. I know what you mean.
But they would say, okay, I remember what Thea J said, or I remember what Jill said, and that is actually quite relevant, and that could help the company. Yeah. And that you speaking up you never know what it has planted into someone else's mind of who you are. You know, you are initiative, you are able to kind of speak up. You know, you're not afraid to speak up. So I think it's very, very important. Don't feel because you are a woman, you know, you've got to hold back on what you said, or you have to say.
Yeah.
Depending on what it is, you know.
Even if you're not too sure, you could start by saying, do you know what, guys, I'm not too sure about this, but I was thinking, and what do you guys think about this? And then say what you've got to say. So even if you're not too sure, just have your little, you know, your pre disclaimer, and then say what you've got to say.
Yeah.
In terms of when we're talking about speaking up, know how to speak, know how to I can't think of the word. Know how to present yourself.
Yeah.
So that yourself. Is knowing not to come into the office or to the wherever your workplace is talking slang talk and, you know, talking all slack and, you know, all that nonsense. No, this is more or less, everyone should know this, but just in case anyone is maybe a younger person watching our video, you know, when you're in the workplace, talk with confidence. Remember our video, how do you your confidence? I did mention in that one, sometimes you can fake confidence. I'm not saying that you should go around pretending to be somebody else, but if you're trying to present something or talk to one of your managers or your fellow peers and you're not too sure, just fake the confidence. Come across as being a very confident person, and over time, you'll build up that confidence that becomes real and instilled in you.
Yeah.
So just know how you're presenting yourself, and that is in terms of your clothing, your body language, how you're speaking. You know,
I think the speaking thing is very, very important, and it's a pet peeve of mine when, you know, if I hear someone on the phone or someone speaks to me in a certain kind of slang, it really puts me off, because it's like, and you know, I shouldn't necessarily be prejudiced because that person could be completely educated and know what they're doing, but for me, you can't necessarily be presenting in a meeting and saying, yeah, so here's the deal, this is what this is this and this is this, so this is how we're going to handle it. No.
It depends though. You might be working as like a youth worker. That might be the best way to get across to the youth.
That's understandable. But if you're in a professional environment where you can see how everybody speaks, again, like you said, fake your confidence.
Fake it.
Fake the accent. You know,
it soon becomes natural.
Yeah, it becomes the norm for you. Like, for example, the way I speak to Theodore when I'm at home, I wouldn't speak to people at my workplace. It doesn't necessarily mean. Sometimes we do have a couple of jokes where, you know, you go into your little slang, but it's not one of those things where you pick up the phone and say, "Yo, what you saying?" You can't really do that.
Just know how to present yourself.
Yeah, definitely know how to present yourself. And that's not only for women, it's also for men as well.
Yeah, I think this video is called Women in the Workplace, but a lot of what we're saying is quite general to men and women and different ages. So, should we touch on being black in the workplace?
Definitely.
So, being black in the workplace, it comes with a lot of difficulties. I think a lot of non-black people or non-ethnic minorities don't understand how difficult it sometimes can be, and the pressures that are placed on ethnic minorities to succeed in the workplace. In my current department, so we have different departments in my firm, and my current department, I would say there's about 200 people in that department, and I'd probably say 10 of them are ethnic minorities. Now that is quite a stark number, and that's probably reflected in the rest of the firm. So a lot of there are not many ethnic minorities, and in my firm's defence, there are a lot of things that happen at the moment around inclusivity and diversity. So they are really trying to increase these things, but I know that in some places it's not of importance. They don't really care if they don't have a balanced diversity within their place. And I just want to say, it is hard. It is really hard because there's a lot more pressures placed on ethnic minorities. It is unfortunate that I don't know how to really put this. It is unfortunate that ethnic minorities sometimes come across as uneducated, as unambitious, as unable to do something that a non-ethnic minority can do, and that we sometimes feel that we have to go above what we've expected of some of our peers who are not ethnic minorities. It is really unfortunate, but that's just the way that the world is. So I know that if my fellow peer who's not an ethnic minority he or she might have to work this hard, but actually I have to work this hard, but it's still seen as though I'm working this hard. So there are a lot of pressures that are placed on us, and we just have to just deal with it and just be the best person that we can be, the jobs that we are doing.
And I'm going to touch on exactly the same thing. I think for me, in my previous workplace, in my department, I was the only ethnic minority. And when I say ethnic minority, I was the only black person. There wasn't any other.
So was it just you black and everyone else was white?
Everyone else was white in my department. And spread across the whole company, I could probably say there was probably about 5, and it was about 150 within the company. And that for me, because of where I worked and the whole kind of entertainment side of it, you know, I felt like it should have been a lot more of a diverse place, because, you know, the arts itself, the current thing that's going on at the moment is that we are trying to act for change. You know, we're trying to change. London is a very diverse environment and diverse nation. Is it town or city? Diversity. Yeah, London's
one of the most, I think.
Yeah, very diverse. You know, and the mere fact that theatre, TV, there's a lot of, you know, people that are challenging that. Why do we not get the diversity on TV? And sometimes I feel like we don't even have that behind closed doors. You know, everyone's fighting for the fact of that not being shown on television, but it's not even being shown, you know, with your directors having an opportunities, your actors, even those people that work behind closed doors, like in talent management and TV production, so many things. And for me, that was a challenge. I felt, like Thea J said, I felt like I had to work even harder, a lot harder than, you know, my other peer, you know. And again, I wouldn't necessarily know exactly what was happening in the background, but I felt there was a lot of pressure on me on trying to do certain things, and, you know, opportunities where I felt that I was more than experienced for it, I was never put up. And that for me was an issue. Now, again, I'm not trying to, you know, bring down the company that I worked for. That is not my intention, because it's an absolutely lovely company. The people are absolutely lovely. But I felt like there was a lot of politics. And that's what happens, you know, with the workplace. You don't necessarily know what's going on. You can only express how you feel. You can only, you know, see how, put it as how you see it. And for me, that was kind of like, you know, it was an issue for me, and I hate to bring the race thing into it. That's kind of like my last kind of reason for maybe something happening, because I feel like at the end of the day, I'm human, you're human. You know, if I can do the job and you can do the job, then that's what should matter. I hate to think about, oh, you know, they didn't consider me because of the colour of my skin, or, you know, I'm having to do this even harder because of the way I look or the way I sound. I hate thinking that, because at the end of the day, I feel like I've got to where I've got to because I've worked hard, and someone should see that rather than see the colour of my skin.
Yeah, I mean, I'm quite fortunate in my place that I don't feel I'm black person at this firm. I don't feel that colour comes into it. I am fully aware that not everyone feels the same way as me. Even in my firm and outside, I'm fully aware. But I'm quite fortunate that I don't feel those. I know that I have to work harder, and I do, but I don't feel that I'm being targeted in any way. So I'm quite fortunate in that respect.
Yeah. I don't know. Like, I'm not taking away from the people there, because the people are absolutely lovely. It's the people are genuinely nice, but then when you feel like, you know, you've not been knocked down once, not twice, not 3 times, 5 times, it's kind of like, then you kind of just knock your head and think, what's happening?
Yeah.
What has this got to do? What has it got to do with? Is it got to do with the colour of my skin? What's happening? You know, and then you start looking around and saying, why isn't there any other people that are of my skin tone?
I guess you start to question, how do you deal with that?
Yeah.
Like, I've not had that myself, so I don't know how I would deal with it. You tell me these stories sometimes, and I think to myself, how would I deal with that? How would I deal with a situation where I felt I'm not getting this opportunity at work, and I think it's because of the colour of my skin? I don't know how I would deal with that. I wouldn't even have any advice for anyone who's dealing with that, because, you know, I have not been through it myself, fortunately. But it is really, and I actually feel that it's a little bit more difficult for the black men in the workplace. as opposed to the black females in the workplace.
Do you reckon?
I think so, yeah.
That's
I think
interesting.
so. I think especially for the younger black men and the younger black females, I think the men find it a little bit harder than the females do.
I don't know.
No, I definitely,
I can see where you're coming from, but maybe it's because I'm a woman. I just feel like naturally, not saying that everyone is prejudiced, but naturally it's a lot difficult. Number one, because you're a woman. Number two, because you're black.
Yeah.
Because till this day, men are still getting paid higher than women.
Yeah, they are. But do you know what? I heard this really good quote the other day. It's stuck in my head, but I can't remember the exact words. It was something along the lines of, the woman who is seeking to be equal with a man is not fulfilling her true potential. I think they're the words. And what it means is that a woman who is saying, I must be classed the same as a man, has not seemed to realise that she can be seen as even better. It's not just you don't need to get to there and think, okay, that's the man. It. I'm matching the man, so I can stop now. No. You keep on going. You keep on succeeding. I can't remember the exact quote, but I'll Google it and I will put it down in the comment section down below. I think it was really, really a really, really good quote. It's my male boss who actually told me that quote.
Oh,
yeah,
interesting.
But bringing a bit of lightheartedness to this topic. Something about being black in the workplace is, okay, lunchtime.
You gotta love lunchtime.
So obviously, at home, we cook a lot of traditional foods.
Yeah.
And sometimes our foods have a certain, not a smell, a sense to them. Which can
my food smells good.
To us, it smells delicious. But to some others who aren't familiar with it, they think, oh, what's that? What's that smell I can smell? So sometimes I will take in my leftovers for lunch the following day. And obviously you've got to put it in the microwave to heat up and then you go and eat it. And then you have your fellow colleagues saying, oh, that smells nice. Can I have a look? And I'm a bit funny with my food. I don't like people breathing over my food. And oh, what's that in there? I don't really like that. And I found that happened quite a lot. I don't do it anymore. I don't bring my food in anymore. But
is that because people smelling up your food?
No, I don't like to smell up my food, and I just pop out to Pret and wherever I go. But yeah, that was something that I experienced.
Me, I feel no way.
Oh.
What's going to stop me from taking my food? Are you not hungry too? Am I not hungry too? Well, there was one time I was sitting at my desk because I feel like buying food outside is expensive.
It is.
So I will prefer to bring my packed lunch. If my mum has made some rice, some jollof rice, I'm bringing that jollof rice with some chicken in and some stew. And if I want to add some plantain as well, I'll put plantain in there. No one can tell me otherwise. And there was one time I was eating jollof rice and someone was like to me, that smells really nice. And he came a bit close to my food. I was like, yeah, it's jollof rice. All right, thanks. And I felt like he was going to ask me for some. I won't give you any. When you eat your dinner, I'm not going to go, that smells really nice. Can I get a bit of that? No.
Yeah, it's I think it's something that a lot of black people experience at work.
But don't feel, because it's you. Do you know what I mean? I feel like, someone I shouldn't, hold myself back because I don't know what that person's going to say about my food. When I was younger, probably yes. If you bring in packed lunch, you bring in jollof rice into school, and then your friends are like, what is that though? Kids, they have no filter. They say what they want to say. But as an adult, because, we live in a society where we're allowed to express ourselves and to be comfortable with who we are, there should be no problem with what we eat.
There's this woman at my workplace, and I don't know if she makes her vegetables in the morning or in the evening. I don't know when she makes them, but she brings the vegetables into work and she heats them. Now, I do not know why, but her vegetables stink.
Vegetables naturally stink.
Yeah, but if I have vegetables at home and heat them, they don't smell like that. These ones stink at the whole office.
No. There was one time where someone was heating up broccoli and it stink up the whole office.
All I'm trying to say is that probably she does it on a regular basis. So if she feels comfortable enough to bring in her stinky vegetables, I'd probably bring in my food. But I just feel away. I don't want no one coming up in my plate or my lunchbox and saying, oh, what's that? And can I have, I just don't like it. I just don't like it, so I don't do it anymore.
My other thing is that, and Thea J knows this, I change my hair a lot. All the time I change my hair. So I could have one hairstyle one day and then by the end of the week, I've got a different hairstyle. Like, for example,
Different lengths.
Yeah, so I wear wigs. I have my hair out. I have my curly afro. I have weave. I have wigs. I have a different color.
Extensions,
braids. I have everything. I don't hold back when it comes to my hair. And a lot of the times, like for example, I would do that, and so I'm like, "Oh, Julia, you changed your hair today," and it's kind of like, yeah, it's I feel comfortable. Like some people will not say it's a weave. I feel no way, it's a weave, darling. Oh, so it's not your real hair? No. And then the next day I'll come in braids. Oh, so it looks long today. It's braids, so it's extension. So I kind of let them know this is what it is, because it's not that they're ignorant, but they don't know.
Yeah, they don't know. They don't know.
So I'm happy to kind of say it, but then when people are like, "It's my hairstyle today," I think when it becomes a topic of discussion where they don't have anything else to say to you, it's kind of like, but I'm more than my hair.
Yeah.
Indiana Airy, what's the song? I am not my hair. I am not.
Yeah.
I'm more than my hair. Do you get what I'm saying? There's a lot to me than my hair. You could ask me many other things apart from my hair, but I don't know if you have that issue.
I was going to say, I'm the complete opposite to Jules. Complete opposite. I normally have my hair more or less the same for work, and I'm conscious of the fact if I want to change my hair, I'm conscious that, okay, I can't change it to too short a length, because then I'll get all the questions. How did your hair grow so quick? And so I more or less have my hair. I would call it like I wouldn't say a corporate style. I follow the. Is that right? Do you think?
Yeah, just a regular week.
Commercial, corporate. I just try and follow. I don't want any. I don't mind the questions. I don't mind them saying, "Oh, is that your real hair?" And I'll just tell them, "No, it's not. It's a weave." But I just can't be bothered with the.
So how did they put it in? What is it holding together? How does it? Where did you buy the hair?
I don't really mind, but I just tend to not change my hair too much. And I think it is more of a reason. It's because of work. Because I want to go for a shorter style at the moment. But I'm thinking, well, no, let me enjoy my longer length. And then when I'm fed up of that, then I'll go for my shorter length. As opposed to going from long to short to long to short to long to short.
Whereas me,
you don't care.
I don't care.
You're the complete opposite of that.
I've always been the person that naturally just always changed their hair. So, I'm all about, asking questions and stuff like that. But sometimes it's kind of like, it's not always going to be the topic that we should discuss when we're in the lift going down. But yeah.
Another thing I think affects black people in the workplace, some black people in the workplace, is names. Both Jules and I have fairly English names, so we don't really have this problem, but I do know people who have names which sound black, whether they sound ghetto or they might sound African. They do have they feel that there are barriers to them in terms of getting into or receiving opportunities. I know of one person, he's a man, and he was on his journey to become a lawyer, had an African name. I think I might have mentioned one of the videos, I can't remember. Yeah. And he changed his name, and now he's a successful lawyer. Whether it's because he changed his name by deed poll that he got that opportunity, who will ever know? But he is a strong believer that the only reason why he is where he is because he changed his name. And I think that is so sad and so unfortunate that people feel they have to go to these lengths to get a job. It really is sad and unfortunate.
And the thing is, I read something on that actually, where employers, and I don't know, I'm just just going by what I've read. This might not be completely true, but some employers would look at someone's CV, and if they find it difficult to pronounce their name, they wouldn't necessarily kind of go for that person. Or if it's a name that would be potentially difficult for maybe clients or maybe people to say, it would be one of those ones where they're like, oh, whereas if it was a John Smith, it's kind of like, oh, that's simple to look at. That's simple to say. Let's look at his credentials, his experiences, then kind of go from there. But
But I think on the flip side, though, some companies are trying to increase their members of staff who are from ethnic minorities, and so they might see an application or a CV, see that the name sounds black, and they might say, okay, yeah, let's bring that person in. Now that's all well and good. But I wouldn't want to get a job just because I'm going to fill up your quota. Yeah. I want to get that job because I'm the best person for the role, regardless of my race, regardless of my name or my religion or anything like that. I want to get the job from the best person. It's kind of a catch-22. it's great that companies are trying to increase the numbers of employees from ethnic minorities, but at the same time, you don't want to get the job just because
you're
going to fulfill their statistics of their ethnic minorities.
Yeah, like I was on Twitter and someone said that, would you be upset, like, if you got a job because of the colour of your skin rather than your experiences?
I would.
I think I would too.
It depends. If you're like an actress and you've got to fulfill a role that's a black person, then yeah, that's totally different. But if there's no colour that comes into this role, I would be upset because I wouldn't get a job because I'm the best person.
Yeah.
Definitely.
I completely agree.
So it brings us back to a more general perspective. I want to talk about maternity, things that women find difficult in the workplace. I think it's really hard for women who want to have families because they're getting themselves into a career that's going really successful. They think, oh, I want to have a family now. Can I really take out a year or 2 years or whatever it is out of the office? Would my line manager feel that I'm not the person to have back after my maternity because I'll be coming back on a part-time basis? I think it's really hard for females, and they have to really calculate whether they go for an opportunity, whether it's going to affect the ability to have a family and so forth. It's really hard. But my place actually is really encouraging part-time working, flexible working. So that's really, really good. But I know I'm talking about my firm as if it's fantastic. It is a fantastic place to work. They are really, really embracing modern ways of working. But I think it's hard for some people that they have to work out when they can take an opportunity or when they can have a family based on their working arrangements.
Okay.
That's hard. But men can just do whatever they want.
Yeah, but then, certain men, who do become fathers, they're only given 2 weeks paternity.
Yeah. But that's increasing though.
Is it?
Well, I don't know if it's just, again, my place is increasing that.
So okay. I want to work where you work.
I think it's 6 weeks. Not sure if that's by law or if that's just they're increasing it. But, so, I know, shared parental leave, they call it. Tell me if that is that a common thing. I'm not too sure, but my firm call it shared parental leave, where the men can take much more than the 2 weeks.
Okay.
But yeah, that's not fair. Why should a woman be able to take a year? I think a year is a normal amount of time, isn't it? A year's maternity when a man can only take however long it is paternity.
Yeah.
It's not fair that they are both parents.
Yeah.
They both want to see their child grow and develop. But yeah, I find maternity quite... Like, I know one woman who, I think she was on her 3rd child. She had the child and was back in the office and 2 weeks later. Now, to me, that is absolutely ridiculous. But to her, it worked. But then she had a nanny who could look after the children. She had all these different things, different resources at her disposal. But 2 weeks and then back to work. You've not even healed properly at that point, have you?
I think where I worked... And I will probably quickly go into this. It will probably be another video about it. But where I worked, I think about 9 months into my new position, I got pregnant, and obviously I had to start the whole maternity kind of thing and everything. And I thought about it because the first instant thing that you think is that, am I going to lose my job? Because naturally, it's a full-time position. Eventually, if it's one of those things where you do have the child, when you come back, what is it going to be? And my position, it was kind of like I was kind of given, there wasn't an ultimatum, but it was kind of like, your position's full-time. Is it something that you'd have to come back full-time? There isn't any part-time thing. And the question obviously had risen in my mind that would I be able to go back and do full-time with a child? So that was kind of it for me. Unfortunately, I actually miscarried. So a few months later, so I didn't have to go through doing the whole maternity and then coming back and then potentially not knowing whether I would be able to do part-time or full-time. If it was full-time, then I would have been fine. But if it was part-time, I probably wouldn't have been there.
Sorry, if you was asked to come back full-time.
And I did full-time, but I thought it's not going to work.
Okay.
They would have had to get someone else.
Okay.
Because the position is a full-time position.
So these are things that women have to think, women who want to have families have to think about. And but it doesn't seem to affect men in the same way. But I guess that's just the way the world goes, and there's not really much we can do about that. But I think a lot of places are trying to work around that. So, like I said, flexible working arrangements, shared parental leave. There's different initiatives that places are trying to input or to create.
Yeah.
So, anything else you want to touch on?
I think we've kind of spoken about everything.
I think my last thought or last thing I want to say is just to grab hold of every opportunity in the workplace, something that I've always done. Fortunately, I've always been in the right place at the right time, and things have just happened for me during my career. So I think I'm quite fortunate that things have happened in that way. That's just what my life is supposed to be like, I guess. Just grab hold of every opportunity and make the absolute most of it.
And I think, if you feel you're no longer happy in a position that you're in, and you have spoken to your boss, and you don't think that things are necessarily changing, then, looking at other opportunities where, you could potentially grow, and that's very, very important as well. If you don't stay in a position, if you're a person that enjoys happiness and you enjoy your role and you want to be in a role that fulfills you, don't stay in a position where you feel unhappy, because that will reflect your work, I believe, to be honest, because that's what happened to me towards the end of where I was working. I just became extremely unhappy, and that reflected on my work. I felt like, I was no longer there 100%, mentally. So that for me was like, okay, it's time for me to kind of move on and grab onto the next challenge, grab onto the next opportunity. And that's what I'm doing. So, yeah.
I would say one more thing is, don't make your job or your career the be-all and end-all of life.
Yeah.
Because life is so short. Do have other interests and other hobbies outside of work. And, actually, at my place, they do encourage you to have outside interests and outside hobbies that you can talk about in the workplace. You don't want to just talk about work 24/7. You want to have something else to your life. So don't make work the be-all and end-all of your life.
Yeah.
So that's all, guys. We hope you enjoyed. Make sure you do let us know your thoughts on this video and any other future videos you'd like to see. Share, like, and subscribe to our channel, and we'll see you soon.
See you soon, guys. God bless. Bye.
I qualified. When I got my graduate thing. Yeah, graduated. Yeah. So when I graduated.